Hey there, Scorpio, and welcome to your October 2016 reading. As always, you can use this for your sun sign, your moon, and your rising. This month, we just got through a retrograde period, so I really want to focus on opportunities. We'll see what's coming through in the cards. It all depends. Your channeled information, though, this month is to listen. As I was meditating and shuffling the cards, I kept seeing like this sort of image in my head, and so I really think paying attention to all the small details, listening and asking. It's like active listening, I think it's called, where you want to check back with what you think you heard. So you could repeat something, not to the point of being annoying, but just saying, hey, I know yesterday you asked me to do this, I'm going to follow up on it. Just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You need it by this time, or something like that. There's a nice way that you can check in with people to make sure that you're not assuming anything. And the other thing that you might want to try to think about is letting other people talk and having a pause and then starting, so that they can really tell that you're not always trying to jump in. I just was looking at debates the other night, and it was amazing how much cross-talk there was. So allowing someone to finish their train of thought is a wonderful thing. So think about that. Now let's take a look at your cards for this month to see what messages are coming through specifically for you. And then I'll pull the Catalyst card, which is really kind of like a North Star. It's going to tell you how to get to where you want to go. All right. So let's take that. So I'm going to use this Archangel Michael deck for your Catalyst. And for those of you that are new, every month I look at your general forecast, we'll look at a Catalyst, and then we also look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So we'll touch upon all the major areas that most people want to know about. So this is a card about asking for help. Although it specifically is talking about religion on this card, I will take it a step back and say this can also be about asking for help from others. And it kind of works with this: listening, making sure you understand what people want, and then not being afraid to either ask for assistance, ask for clarification, asking for support. You don't have to do everything alone, and typically when you try to sort of like keep everything up without any assistance or without warning people that you may not maybe follow through on something, then that's when you get in trouble. So my advice is don't be afraid to ask. And if you ask and someone gets upset, that's probably not someone you want to be working with anyway, and they'll end up just making life difficult for themselves. So it's better to ask, it's better to speak up. So let's take a look at all of the cards here. Right at the center, I can see money's a major concern this month. Not something to stress out about, but many of you may be working and feeling like a little frustrated. Why can't I get further ahead? And maybe like there might have been a promotion that didn't happen, or a job opportunity that you applied for that didn't quite work out, or you're just feeling underappreciated, because this is all about someone valuing you. And if I'm to sort of like extrapolate from the cards and see who that might be, it's very possible that there's a strong air sign in your midst, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, who may be more sort of focused on the task at hand or themselves, and not really as sensitive as you may like. And so if that's the case, I would say the important thing is to just keep up with the work. We have the Five of Wands in your deep past, meaning that there's probably a lot of busy work going on for many of you. And the busy work can be frustrating because you're wondering sometimes, like, what is the point? And sometimes there is. It's just that work takes time. Other times, it may just be politics. And if it is that, I would just say pick and choose your battles. What I'm seeing with the Eight of Swords is, at least for the first 2 weeks, I really would not, and I'm seeing this as a trend for many signs, I would try to minimize sort of like picking an argument or complaining about work, feeling excessive. Just kind of push through it, and careful who you talk to as well, because I see the Seven of Swords here, and this is a card of people that may not always have your best interest at heart. So even though they're listening, you may not be able to, you might not want to tell them everything. Let's just put it that way. Very nice silver lining on this month, though. Around the middle of the month, the third to fourth week, middle towards the end, I think you're going to start to see some possibilities open up for you. So if you've been feeling, like I said, underappreciated, or you haven't seen a lot of, career growth, there may be either like you'll hear word of mouth or from a friend, something coming on the horizon. The other thing is, I don't feel like this is a permanent state if any of you are feeling frustrated. If you're happy, then what I actually see is more growth in the future here for you. And we're looking at a 2 to 3 month sort of cycle starting with October. October probably being the building or ascending action until you actually see it in November and December. What I'm looking at you at the moment, your ego, it's really about making sure that everything is feeling balanced. Particularly your money situation right now with the Two of Pentacles in reverse, it typically means you're able to manage and make decisions that make everything work, but there needs to be more. So this is why it's important, if your money situation isn't where it should be and your job isn't recognizing your work, it's time to look. So I've seen that for a lot of folks. I feel like it's almost like the new year is starting a little early for some of us. The new year energy is starting to seep in here in the last few months of the year. So why wait until January? It's looking like for some of you it would be a good month to make some shifts. In your environment card, we have the High Priestess, which I love. This and the Magician basically show the ability to manifest. And with this, it's a heightened, it's a step above the Magician, which shows me that a lot of you are very adept at looking at situations and understanding people's motives, because the High Priestess can be a manipulator, but also it can be like a master chess player or like a master diplomat. So part of what you can use to your advantage this month is surveying a situation and thinking, oh my God, that's a hornet's nest, I'm not going to get involved, or that seems like a really great cause and a great person, I can't wait to align myself with it. So use your intuition, see through some of the facade that people put out there, and decide if it's something that you want to spend your time and money on, because time is valuable. So if someone's always complaining, you don't have to listen all the time. Or if people are constantly sort of trying to get you to come over and talk and defend them and all of this, and it just feels like a wild goose chase, maybe it is. Another sort of positive thing is I see that love and relationships towards the end of the month could start to develop for you. If you're already in one, we see the Queen of Cups here, which is showing me, particularly as illustrated in this deck, that you are quite comfortable and confident in your emotional state and in control of it because the card is upright. Some of you may meet someone like a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, because we see this Queen of Cups figure, and it looks like it would be the 3rd to 4th week of the month. I also see a potential for a younger air sign coming through, a Gemini, Aquarius, or a Libra. And with this, I would say, let's take a look really quick and see which one would be more beneficial for you, and which one might leave more to love. So both of these, I'm seeing this also as a trend this month for most signs. I would say, unless you really are gung-ho on starting a relationship right now, when I look at the Page of Swords, I see a lot of changes in their life. We have the Tower card with them. And when I look at the Queen of Cups, this is someone who doesn't necessarily know what they're looking for right now. So I would say, if you enter in a relationship, really take your time and get to know them. And of the two, the Queen of Cups looks a little less chaotic, but I wouldn't really advise going forward with either of these relationships this month. Now let's just take a step back and look at this as aspects of your personality. As I said, the Queen of Cups is someone who doesn't let their emotions rule them. And the Page of Swords, this is actually saying that for some of you, you may want to, or you may need to speak up if it comes to opportunities that are maybe showing up at work. You have to speak up. They're not going to land in your lap, and they're not going to consider you unless you volunteer. The other thing that comes through with that is it's a great time to start new projects, launch a business, launch a brand. Make sure you have the capital. That's my only caveat, because with the Two of Pentacles here in reverse, you need funding. You would need to have someone that wants to pick up the bill. Otherwise, I don't want you digging into your savings. It could be a little bit tricky. Let's go ahead and expand your forecast and focus first on your health. And actually, this card volunteered. So your health is actually having everything to do with your relationships. So let's take a really quick look here. One thing that I think is very important is transparency. Speaking your mind, and if you're not feeling like others are listening or understanding you, opening up some sort of like very safe but clear dialogue with them and saying, I love you, I care about you, but we really need to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. And what this card actually says is the intention is to be attracted to people that serve your higher good. So I talk about this a lot in different relationship reads each month actually, but what you want to focus on, if that's the case, is overcoming some of your own fear and trust issues that are sort of popping up this month. So one of them has to do with the surroundings. With the Seven of Swords here, I'm curious for some of you, like what your job situation looks like or what your living situation looks like, because what's showing through in this energy here is that there may be sort of second guessing going on, or wondering, did I make the right choice? Did I make a mistake? There's a lot of doubt. So one thing that I see is doubt, and I would the way to kind of get rid of doubt is to educate yourself on whatever it is you're wondering or curious about. And for fear, it's sort of the same thing. And sometimes for fear, you just have to sort of go face to face with whomever it is that you're letting have power, because really what fear does is it's like, I'm giving you my power here in my hand, take it please. And when you no longer fear someone, you approach them sort of curiously and think, you trigger something in me, why are you triggering it? And then you can sort of have this internal dialogue and think, oh, it's because you always seem to be one step ahead, or you have a way of going straight to what I need to improve. And so what you could think to yourself is, well, I'm just going to work on myself so that this person has less to trigger, and then I'm not going to be afraid of them because they have nothing to pick at. So there's a lot of ways you can get your power back from people that are tricky. Now, if there's gossipy people, or unfortunately sometimes there's just people that there is no way to neutralize or win it, the best thing to do then is to disengage, because when you say, I don't need to get involved, then you don't give them the opportunity to have power. And if you don't react to what they try to do to you, you also take your power back. So anyway, things to think about. Relationship harmony basically is what you want to focus on. It's going to help your mental health and probably your physical health as well. All right, so we just looked at health. Let's take a look at wealth and career. Details. Really pay attention to fine print, contractual things. If you need to get a lawyer to sort of take a look at any legalese that doesn't make any sense. And also just pay attention to deadlines, to any sort of promises that you might have made in an email or a conversation. And that's going to help you out with success and keep you on track. And when I'm looking here also at your growth potential in this current track, you may not be able to wait for the long-term growth that I'm seeing here. And if that's the case, it's time to move on. So just keep that in mind. For love and relationships, this card wants to come. It's basically saying that you're safe. So if you were worried about yourself or someone else, it's showing me that at least in regards to feeling like you're okay, you should be okay. This can also be about like confronting someone or releasing yourself from something. It's saying you have to do what makes you feel safe, and if that's really the right thing to do. So for some of you, if you don't feel safe, then I want you to get to this place. So that might mean if someone is making you feel uncomfortable, you need to seek out help. If it's more like, oh, I just met someone and I'm wondering, can I get to know them a little bit better? This card is saying there's probably no harm there. But what I go is a little bit deeper past the actual words on here, and it's really saying focus on safety and feeling safe. You and only you will know if you are safe, and if you have doubts, that's really enough to sort of say, this probably isn't it. So let's just read the card as safety being the focus, and you will be able to gauge using your own internal compass and your heart if it's the right place to be or the right person to be with. And if not, don't doubt it for a second. All right. Finally, let's take a look at your destiny. So this one's really interesting. For your destiny, what I see is that there needs to be almost like a reinvention, this is like a bold stroke of paint that I'm seeing here. So it's, imagine that you're going to do some sort of a spiritual makeover of yourself, and that doesn't have to involve a physical makeover. It can, if that makes you feel transformed. But what it's more about is changing the way you look at yourself and your future. So for instance, if you're in school, if you're a young adult, maybe in your teens or something, and you always have heard negative feedback around with other people sort of saying you can't do this, you're not this, etc., etc. To yourself, just think, that's their opinion. I know I can do this. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to go after this. I don't care if people support me or not. You're going to start to reinvent a bold version of yourself. For those of you that are maybe in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, further along in your life, further along in your career, this card is just as scary because we're still all kind of kids at heart. So maybe you spent 20 years as a banker and now you decide you want to do something totally different. Maybe you want to, become a veterinarian or a healer or something like that. And you may sort of feel like a lot of people are looking at you like you're insane. And if you're really following your heart and you want to reinvent yourself, go for it. Because that's actually part of the fun, is proving people wrong. Okay? So let's summarize and look at everything. Your channeled information was listen. Listen to your heart, listen to your intuition. Also do active listening with other people. Allow a pause before you start to speak, and check them. Check them the next day, or maybe even in the same conversation. Say, wow, I never thought of it that way. Did you mean this, this, and this? There's a lot of ways you can sort of ask the questions, and they'll actually just think you're really engaged then as well, which you will be. When we're looking at this month, it's a great month for research, also for putting things into writing. What I see is towards the end of the month, you might actually need to present it. The beginning of the month is showing research, writing, and then also trying to avoid any really critical speech either from you or from others, and that's where now this card makes a lot more sense. You're going to have to be your own visionary and sometimes just tune out parents, bosses, friends, frenemies, because they may not have your best interests at heart. What I'm seeing is that leading up till this month, and maybe even towards the very beginning, there's a lot of doubt, fear, questions that might be brewing, but there's so much potential for you this month and in the future. I really want you to focus on the potential. If you have to make a change because of your budget, then towards the end of the month is looking good. The very last week of the month, in fact, is ideal for you to sort of go out there and pitch your idea or to try to find a new job. Really focus on trying to manifest what you want to do. The High Priestess is about creation. It's about manifestation. It's about magic and using your own charisma to get people excited about you. The Queen of Cups is saying you're already there. Continue to stay strong and don't let your emotions overrule you. You haven't so far, and it doesn't look like you will this month. Page of Swords at the end saying there is going to be a need for you to either step up, speak up, write something out, and like basically make a declaration towards the end of the month and decide what it is you want to do. And you see there's like a big air balloon or a zephyr behind her, and that's really about your ability to take off and go somewhere else in another direction. Love is possible this month when it comes to new relationships, but I don't advise jumping into something. Both the water and air signs that I'm seeing here, they have some strings attached, and I think this month it would be so much better to focus on planning, on physically getting some of the work done that you need to. Really manifesting. This is a good month if you need to create some business cards, create a website, put together a marketing plan for your business. That's a much better use of your passion and your time than hopping into a relationship, just based on the cards that I'm seeing. When we expand your forecast, your catalyst card, first of all, is saying don't be afraid to ask for help. So if you are researching things, go ahead and reach out to either like a CPA or a paralegal. Make sure that they're looking at all of the details, and that comes in a second. We saw that. The key to your success with happiness and health this month is really to achieve relationship harmony. If you're not feeling safe in any of those relationships, it's time to release them. If you are feeling safe, then just continue to spend time and nurture one another in that relationship. It's going to make you feel better. Pay attention to details. This is going to really serve you well in work and in anything financial. I want you to check, double check, triple check everything. when we're looking at love, just focus on safety being the key word here. If you're feeling safe, then everything's okay. If you're not, it's time to abort and time to let go or find someone that's a better match. Also, just focus on your physical safety and the safety of your assets as well. Finally, and most kind of like cool and enjoyable this month is the idea of reinvention and looking and painting with a very broad stroke, like what could I do? I could do anything. And then going after what you truly want to do. A lot of times in my coaching sessions, my one-on-ones, I will ask people, if you could monetize your dream, whatever it is you just love doing, what would you do? Some people it's easy, they know immediately, and some people don't really know what it is they want to do or should be doing, and that's okay. But give yourself a chance. Meditation doesn't have to always be sitting in a lotus position or having your hands at your heart. It can be thinking through stuff. So like spend some time thinking about how much you like your job, maybe what you thought of when you were a kid that you would be doing, and now that you're grown up, for those of you that are, thinking, what is it I really still want to do? If I say like next year that was your last year of your life, then what would you do over the next 365 days? Every year we should treat it like we don't know what the future is. Like every day is our last, like every year is our last, and we should just maximize it. So start to think on those terms, and then you will not have regrets, or you'll have much fewer in that area, because you've been already living like there's not an endless wick, okay? And life is indeterminate. I don't like the word short because it may be long, but we just don't know, so why not enjoy? Paint bold, wear bold colors, have fun, and shake people's idea of who you are up in their head, because who cares at the end of the day? This is no different than the shirt that I'm wearing. It's just a projection. It's just something that we've put on in this physical world. It's not our true resplendence. It's not our true color. So if you want to wear hot orange colors, then do it. If you want to be an artist, then be one. If you want to be a surgeon or a vet, then be one. And if you want to style hair, then do that. It doesn't matter as long as you're following your soul's passion. Just do a great job at whatever you do, because that's what matters at the end of things. So yeah, that's all your advice this month. I will say this though, the one thing I really want you to focus on is getting rid of the doubt and fear. So if there is something this month that's tempering that, the sooner you can release that, the happier you're going to feel. You'll feel like a weight's lifted off your back. And I gave you some tips earlier about thinking about why it's triggered, and then working more on what this person or situation triggered in you, within you. And then once that's fixed, the situation or the person doesn't have as much power, if that makes sense. Okay, so if you ever need more insight or want to talk very specifically about a job opportunity, love, etc., I do offer one-on-one counseling, and I would be happy to do that. So feel free to reach out. You can book an appointment. I'll put a button in the corner. If you just like to keep in touch so that you know when I'm posting new videos or meditation series, etc., the easiest way is to subscribe here, but I also have a newsletter, and you could subscribe to the newsletter. I'm on YouTube, obviously, and then Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. And otherwise, I just want to say thank you, because for those of you that tune in from month to month, you're the ones that make this all possible. And I really do appreciate a lot of you are very kind and send me an email or a message on YouTube or comment. Keep up the comments, the likes, and the subscribes. It really helps me understand that this is making a difference and that you appreciate it. So keep it up. I appreciate it too. And if you want to send a little bit of TLC to me, I'll put a donate button at the end as well. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. I'll see you again in November. Sat Nam and bye-bye for now.